everyone, this is Zach with Nerdbot, and this is the Nerdbot GameCast. Raise the roof. Is that what you're gesturing to me?
I'm just saying, raise your fucking voice, young man.
This is how I talk.
Louder.
No, it's loud enough.
I want to go louder.
You want me? I'd scream, but I destroy my ears. Anyways, this is the Nerdbot GameCast. Remember, you can check us out at nerdbot.com, facebook.com/nerdbotmedia, etc., etc. Let me introduce my guest. The person who just interrupted me is none other than
Mr. Interrupter.
That's his first name, Mr. Last name Interrupter.
Sounds about right.
Laid back McGee, man. I'm on this awesome chair just looking at you and staring into your freaking eyes and just being mesmerized by your soft voice.
Cool, I like that. But what's your name?
My name is Aaron Golden, man. How are you?
There we go. We're getting through introductions one way or another.
Sometimes.
That third voice you hear is none other than...
Then David Amadeus Pacheco, writer and staff photographer for Nerdbot.
Every single time you say your name, it gets better. You know that, right? You have like the best name in the world.
I know. It's really dope.
It is. It is very much so.
It sounds like a fanfic kind of name.
Yeah,
Dude, you know about Falco, right?
I know. Everyone sings it to me all the time.
Can you sing it for me
like,
right now?
No.
Wait, Falco?
Fuck it, I will. Amadeus, 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 Amadeus.
Okay, wait.
Amadeus. Woo, 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 woo.
Rock me Amadeus.
Rock me Amadeus.
Okay.
Funny enough, that's actually the name of my photography.
Right. I knew that. I didn't know the I didn't know.
It's a reference to that song.
I didn't know
Falco. He's a historic German rapper, I think.
I don't. What?
European rapper.
He's a
I don't know what
rapper?
he is. Yeah.
I thought he was a pop star.
Well, you know.
This is
It's pretty awesome. I know that.
What's happening?
Greatness.
Anyways, let's move on because I have no idea what's happening right now. But anyways, let's get into what we're playing. Who wants to start?
Aaron, because he's going to talk about Destiny, so let's get that over with.
No. It's even though Iron Banner is here for us all, for all the Guardians out there, to level up your character. I'm not going to start about that. I've been playing some Gears of War, man. I went straight to that campaign, did a little couch co-op with my buddy, and we just started this game. You know, so far it's all right. I hope it. I think it's going to get better.
They have couch co-op, is what you're telling me.
Gears of War always has couch co-op.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So split screen.
Local play.
Oh.
I want to say Gears 3 had 4-player co-op.
Gears 3 did have 4-player co-op.
And that was a little bit of a bummer that Gears 4 only has 2-player co-op.
Dude,
And the thing is, I'm sorry, go ahead.
When it comes to like 4-player co-op, I can only mess with a racing game at that point. Like Mario Kart for Nintendo 64, when it had 4-player co-op,
that's not
racing,
co-op.
That's a competitive game.
Absolutely.
We're all co-oping to win.
No. We're all co-op.
Good argument, Aaron. I can't argue with that.
It's 4 against the other 4 AIs.
But I'm talking about like when you go to the 4-player split screen, it's so hard on your eyes to look at your character and to see what's all around you.
Okay. You're talking
so
about
when you're
the
playing Mario Kart and you're racing, then it's easier to pick up. But man, even just split screen 2-player is kind of hard.
I don't think Gears of War had split screen. They took it away.
This one does.
Or Gears of War 3.
Gears of War 4 does.
So I think Gears of War 3 had 2-player split screen, and you could play System Link or online to get the other 2. But I don't think it was split 4 ways. Anyways, so tell us about Gears 4.
Yeah, it's a game. And,
okay, cool.
All right.
So.
All right, we can move on then.
No, it's pretty good right now. It's pretty much now the lady. She's the what is she?
The chairman of the COG.
Chairman of the COG, man. So she's giving this speech in the beginning, and she talks about how far we've come, and so you go through each battle which she's talked about. So that's where I am right now, and I'm just learning about my journey, and I'm just gonna see how far I go, and we'll just leave it at that.
I've got to say that it was one of the coolest tutorials I've ever played in a while.
Really?
The way it just goes through it, just like, hey, here's some historic scenarios from the series in case you're just jumping into Gears of War.
Oh, so it gives like a refresher?
It gives a refresher both into the story and the gameplay.
And how far we've come.
And
Cool.
how far we've come.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, so it's interesting because I think Gears multiplayer, meaning like it's deathmatch, it's competitive multiplayer, I think is terrible. It's all shotgun sprees, and I never really cared about the campaign, but I love Horde mode. I feel like its campaign and its competitive multiplayer, for that matter, is kind of like, reminds me of Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Harry Potter's not bad, but if you, like, Harry Potter 1, 2, and 3, because I stopped at 3, are all the same movie to me. And I know there's people, like, losing their minds as I say this, but it feels like very much like each one plays it safe. And same thing with Gears. Like I can't distinguish a difference between each Gears. And obviously, like there's like new enemies and people who are super familiar. I'm talking about the campaign.
Yeah. Well, it's a continuous story, as you know, and it's some of the best storytelling there has been for video games, in my opinion.
Did you?
You know what? I'll agree with Aaron on that. It has some pretty great storytelling.
Hey, you see what's going on here? You see what's going on here, Zach? Suck it. That's right. Suck it right now. See your stupid eyes.
My stupid eyes. One thing I will say about it is I haven't played the campaign. I haven't played it. All I played was Horde, which is also disappointing. I didn't like Gears 4 that much from what I played of it. But one thing that was disappointing, and I don't know if you guys felt this way. I mean, maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe it doesn't matter to you, but I don't like the fact that it was 2-player co-op as opposed to 4. For one, because it's a step back, but 2 is so I watched somebody else play most of Gears 4.
Yeah.
And at no point was I looking at the screen where there not 4 people playing. Like, I mean, I'm sorry, 4 characters.
4 characters on screen, yeah.
Yeah, like it's I don't remember. It's the main character Steve, and I don't know, like the generic dude.
Steve-O.
And the female whose name, let's say, is Janet.
Yeah.
Marcus Phoenix and some other dude. And it's like there's always 4 people. There's no reason for it not. I mean, obviously there's obviously technical and logistic things that I don't know, but for it to not be 4 players was like a step back to me, in my opinion.
I think they just wanted to refine the gameplay. So I think they did a
Wait,
good job in doing that without rushing for a multiplayer aspect of the game.
Right.
Gears of War has always been about 4 people, 4 heroes just pushing forward and trying to save the day, you know? And so when you're talking about you wish it was more than 4 people, is that what you're trying to say?
No, I'm wishing. So here's what I'm saying: is in the campaign at any given time there are 4 people.
Yeah.
There are 4 people in the story.
Yeah.
There's Steve, Janet, Marcus Phoenix, and like a mystery character.
Yeah.
But it's only 2-player co-op, and the other 2 are always AI. And it's like since 3 was 4-player co-op, it's a step back to me.
You do 4-player Horde?
Again.
Actually, 5-player.
Yeah, but again.
Okay, more, yeah.
That still, I'm talking about the campaign. Like, I think the idea of playing the campaign with 4 people, because 4 people, it'd be different if there was.
Zach, hold on, man. You go back to the history of video games here. Let's talk about this for a second, Zach.
What are you talking about?
So, if you want to talk about co-op and going into campaigns, it's always 2 and maybe at most 4. It's probably
true.
never more than that, dude.
Again, the reason why is because there's always a storyline implication. Like, why there's 2 people. Like, in Halo 5, which is way better than Gears, but
you know what? It's a good game.
Halo 5?
Halo 5 is a great game. Halo 5 is a great game.
Halo 5, it's 4-player co-op because you're playing in teams of 4.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. That adds up. You're playing in a team of 4 as in Gears,
but
you only can play as 2.
Okay.
That's a little. I mean, it might seem kind of nitpicky, but I think that would pull me to the campaign a lot more.
Well,
Jeez,
okay.
That was an aggressive well.
I know, right?
I mean, you're a picky son of a bitch.
Oh, calm down.
But
you're hurting my feelings, buddy.
But, at least you get... I mean, look, dude, we all have busy lives, right? It's just hard. Like you always tell me, Zach, it's always hard to get your friends online at the same time. And now you want to get 4 people on at the same time when it's hard enough to just get 2 of your friends on at the same time.
Okay,
you know?
We're making different arguments here.
Yeah.
You're saying that based on your love for the garbage shoot that is Destiny.
Hold on. It's not that bad.
It's
very bad.
But anyways... I'll move on, and I'm not going my rant. But so far, what do you like? What you've played of it?
It's average in the beginning.
Okay.
And I've read so many people I've read what people have said about them already beating the campaign. They said some people are just saying it's just another Gears. They didn't have enough as what they thought, but it's setting up for more in what's going to happen with Gears in the future. So, I'm fine with that. That's what the Force Awakens did.
Yeah,
so it's just I'm just gonna enjoy the game. My only gripe though is that I knew I was gonna buy Gears of War because it's what you do. You're an Xbox owner, you get it Gears of War. It's a great game. It always has been to me. It's always something that's a must-have game. You always get. But when it comes to multiplayer, I hate third-person shooters for multiplayer unless it's The Last of Us, and that was great. That was one of the greatest. We ever talked about this. One of the greatest multiplayer for third-person shooters I've ever played in my life. So the problem I get, dude, is that when I have my character and I gotta hold A, I gotta make him jump, I gotta make him run behind this wall, and sometimes I might, miss the miss the button. So when I want him to crouch, I might have him jump up and he gets shot in the head. Maybe that's just me, being shitty at third-person shooters and grasping the fact and how I'm supposed to duck, cover, and roll, whatnot. But a lot of times when I'm, I just mess up and then I give my position away. But when it comes to first-person shooters, dude, that just comes natural to me.
Well, I think part of that is because you played a decent amount of Division, and Division's controls are in complete contrast of Gears.
Yeah.
So I remember playing Gears. I remember playing Division, and I was like, oh, this feels very similar to Gears. But I would go to put my back on a wall and I jump over instead and get murdered.
Yeah.
So I think that there's more uniformity across. Seriously, I like all three of these games, but Halo 5, Titanfall 1 and 2, Call of Duty, Advanced Warfare, Black Ops 3, and Infinite Warfare all have almost the exact same control scheme. So I don't think it's so much that you're bad at it, and I don't think it's so much that Gears or Division is bad at communicating how to play. I think it's just that there's more uniformity in the shooter space. But
it's easier for me. For whatever reason is that I'm better at controlling my character in Division than I am with Gears.
Yeah, I got you.
I don't know why.
All right. Well, there's Gears. I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say about it next week.
Dude, we can get back. I gotta get back into the Division with that new patch.
Right.
I heard the new patch is pretty good.
Yeah.
I haven't played it yet. I gotta download the patch.
Exactly. It's all about you actually clicking the game and putting it on. It's like to people. I just don't know if I'm gonna do it.
Yes.
I have this little dance I do with my games. I will download, leave it there, not play it, and then I will delete it. And then re-download it a couple weeks later.
Yeah, honestly, legitimately, I'm excited to get back into Destiny in probably a month because I haven't played in a year, and I would like to see what they've changed. Probably nothing. It's probably still
probably nothing. Just a couple skin swaps.
Yeah.
If you like,
and there's a couple color changes.
If you like games that keep getting better, then it's probably what you should do.
Hey, that's what World of Warcraft is for, baby. David, what you been playing?
I've been playing World of Tanks.
Ooh.
It's a free to play tank team 15 versus 15 game. It's a very strategic game of chess is what I like to describe it as. I know Aaron mentioned this earlier off podcast offline. He didn't like it because it was too slow for him. Well, that's because the tanks are actually modeled off of the real world tanks, and you start off with a World War I version of tanks, which are notoriously slow and bulky and pieces of trash. But as you progress in the game, the tanks do get faster. The games become harder hitting. They become way more intense because you'll get shot by maybe 2 or 3 tanks. A couple of rounds will ricochet. A few will damage your tank, and it becomes a very intense game later on. And what I like about it mostly is that they put a lot of effort into the real world physics of both the tanks and the projectiles they fire.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I gave World of Tanks, and I'm the most minimal of shots. But I think it suffers from what most free-to-play games suffer from, which isn't maybe it is.
Pay to win?
Maybe, but it's more of that in order to be, especially competitive ones, in order to be a threat, you have to play
a lot.
You have to play so much. So to the point where I played World of Tanks, and I've been playing video games since I was 4. And I was like, man, there's a lot to unpack here. Same thing with League of Legends and Dota. Eventually we're gonna get into BlizzCon news. But Heroes of the Storm is a MOBA, and it's supposed to be the more simplified MOBA because League of Legends and Dota are super complex. But even Heroes of the Storm, it's the mechanics of it. It's man, there's a lot to take into consideration. I just find that a lot in free-to-play games, and I played maybe 30 minutes of World of Tanks, but I remember playing, and dudes were killing me from across a map, and I'm
that is frustrating.
Yeah, and I'm I don't know how to prevent this, and I think that's just common in free-to-play games because it's people who really get into those to the point where they have a level of proficiency over somebody coming in, and it's a difficult barrier to entry. League of Legends is a huge thing, and I want to play League of Legends, but it's so impenetrable
Yes, I feel that way too. The first time I jumped into League of Legends, they were like, "Here's this, 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 and this," and I'm like, "What the fuck am I doing?" And then, people are yelling at me. They're like, "What are you doing?" And I'm just like yelling back, "It's my best."
Right? Yeah. What are you doing? My best.
That's how I feel with Ark Survival, man. I put in a few hours into Ark Survival. I'm not strong as shit. I got to tame dinosaurs that take like 45 minutes to do, and these motherfuckers over here are just like who are already have like made guns and stuff, and I'm just like beating trees to get fucking fiber and whatnot.
That's true.
Just to survive if I don't defecate myself to sleep.
Punching a tree to get a stick.
Yeah, I do. It's just like it's just like I want to. That's just not my style. I want to start off evenly and then kill you.
What I like about World of Tanks is that it really does focus a lot on teamwork. Like, I know this is very hard for a lot of people who start playing it because we're all focused on our KD ratio because of Call of Duty and other games like that. But the game is very team focused. Every tank has a specific role to fulfill. The scout's primary role is basically locate the other tanks and get out of the area quickly. I mean, you can kill a tank, much larger tank, with a smaller scout tank. That is definitely possible. But that's not your primary role. Your primary role is to figure out the positions so that your rest of your team can then counter those positions, and then you have your tank destroyers, which kind of function as snipers, and then artillery, which function as badass instant kill machines. But they're also very vulnerable and slow usually. And then you have the heavy tanks, which are your primary, and your heavy and medium tanks, which are your primary fighting force. But yeah, it focuses a lot on teamwork. You have to give up your individuality in the fact that you're always trying to go for glory.
Right. If you go for glory, you're just gonna leave yourself stranded, and all these just tanks are just gonna shoot you down.
It's not not only that. Not to mention like if all you do is focus on kills, you actually don't get rewarded very much.
Really?
In the game, you get rewarded more on teamwork. Versus
like Overwatch.
Yeah, it rewards teamwork more than individual action.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like, so I enjoyed Evolve a lot, but the problem with Evolve, and I think it's kind of common with a lot of games now, that are so contingent on teamwork.
Yeah.
And like I don't mind. So let me caveat: I don't mind games being contingent on teamwork, but the idea that communication is necessary. I know that's a weird thing to say, but that's where the problems begin. Because in Overwatch, I
hate the radio menu.
Oh yeah, that too. But in Overwatch, you kind of don't necessarily need to communicate. If you're a healer, you have a clear indication like when people are dying.
Yeah,
true.
And like as a healer, that's your role.
Yeah.
And Overwatch gives you prompts saying, "Hey, there's no tanks." There's no healers. So I don't mind teamwork, but when it's like forced like that on top of like communication, and communicating with anyone online is a monster. It's nightmare.
Tough, man.
It's not impossible to going back to World of Tanks. It's not impossible to win if everybody decides to go roll as a tank destroyer, or impossible to win if everyone rolls as a light tank.
There's like a lot of variables to that. Like you don't know who's gonna pick what tank and what not.
It's true.
You gotta know. These games if they're team based, you gotta have communication.
I'll give you one thing that World of Tanks does very well. They have a really good matchmaking system.
Okay, cool.
They have a really, really solid, robust matchmaking system. The only thing that a lot of people griped about in the beginning was how somehow a tier 5 tank would be matched up with a tier 8 tank, which if you don't, since I know you guys haven't played it in a while, it's a huge difference in both armor and firepower, and basically a tier 5 wouldn't even cause a dent. And they're just basically cannon fodder.
Man. Well, what else you been playing? I heard you were playing something else.
Oh yeah, I've been Call of Duty Infinite Warfare.
How is that game, man? Because today I watched about 30 minutes of...
I've already beaten the campaign.
Really?
Wow, dude. Yeah. Hold on, man. Because I watched 30 minutes today of Modern Warfare.
I just got it today, this morning, too.
Modern Warfare. And it brought back a lot of memories to me. But I want to see what you think about this game. Because so far, Modern Warfare is getting rated higher than Infinite Warfare.
That's because a bunch of people are a bunch of assholes who have this nostalgia kind of... They have nostalgia goggles on, and they don't know good storytelling and robust gameplay when they see it. The writing for Infinite Warfare is actually pretty solid. There's no press X for feels in this one, which is what I like. Fucking hated that segment of the game all the time. The gameplay mechanics, they're not. I mean, it seems very sci-fi. So the whole boosted jump, wall run, it doesn't seem, out of place in this game as it does with Black Ops 3, which I think a lot of people complained about. But I mean, extra mobility. What's to hate about extra mobility?
Well, people don't like the fact that you can slide and jump extra high.
You can slide in real life.
You want to go in. You want to just go in there and just mow down a bunch of people in a room without them being acrobatic.
You're like, oh God, I fucking hate jumping over tables.
Well, I think you guys are talking about two different things. Now, you said the campaign's great.
The campaign is pretty solid.
Now, have you touched the multiplayer?
I have not touched the multiplayer yet.
Okay, see, that's the caveat.
I'm talking about multiplayer.
Yeah, that's the caveat. Give me all the options you want in campaign, but multiplayer is a little different.
That's true.
So you said
I can see why it seems cheap. Because some of the stuff is you can see through smoke, and then you're like, what's the point of the smoke grenades or the flashbangs if you could still see through them? I can see why people get frustrated with that on that end of multiplayer.
Yeah. I'm probably gonna pick it up sometime next week. I'm really interested to see what's up. So I played the beta. I'm talking about for the multiplayer, of course, and it gives me Advanced Warfare vibes, where Advanced Warfare was too fast and there was too much verticality to the point where it was hard to track your enemies and all that. And it was okay, I know if I'm at this point, if I'm super familiar with the stage in Call of Duty, this is generally how it is. I know an enemy can hit me from there, or there, one of three spots. But when you add this level of, hey, you can jump over everything, it's okay, now there's a whole new level of concern. So I feel like it became, especially in Advanced Warfare, it became super run and gun, to the point where mid to long range didn't exist. Everyone was just running around with submachine guns, and I'm very concerned that's where Infinite Warfare is going.
Actually, you know what? Shotguns actually have a purpose in that one, and sniper rifles do too as well.
Cool.
At least in the campaign. I mean, it didn't feel like there wasn't too much verticality in the campaign. There was enough where it gave you options, but not, here's a whole big jungle gym, go nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, you haven't touched zombies either, right?
I have not, because it hasn't finished downloading yet. That's a separate 50-gigabyte package.
I will say this. For bang for buck, you're getting a good deal.
It is a good deal.
So
I like it.
You always get the zombies, of course. So it's pretty much 3 games in one.
I actually love the zombies aspect of it.
Modern Warfare.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm really interested to dive into it and see for myself, but
I played Battlefield 1 just recently, and it's just an amazing experience, dude. I went ahead and did a little bit of the campaign in the beginning. I also did the multiplayer. It's so damn good. Battlefield 1 is just, it's almost a masterpiece in my mind. It seems that damn good, dude.
Yeah, I played the beta when it came out, and for context, I don't generally like Battlefield games. They're not terrible, but they're I didn't like 3 and I didn't like 4 very much. I mean, the scale is awesome, but I really liked what they were doing with 1. That sounds weird to say. 3 and 4.
Yeah.
With Battlefield 1, I really liked what they're going for. I'm gonna try to give that a shot too. But man, just so many games are coming out. But yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited for Dead Rising 4.
Oh man, that is the dark horse. That is a dark horse. I am so I can't wait for that. But
I wonder what kind of I get excited for the Mega Man Easter eggs that they have in the game.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, every time,
every single one, there's a Mega Man Easter egg.
Yeah, and it's not like a hey, there's roll over there. It's no, you have a Mega Man suit and a Mega Buster,
a functional Mega Buster or a functional Z Saber and a functional Proto Man suit.
Yeah, it's
great.
It's
fucking amazing.
So in terms of what I've been playing, same thing as last week for the most part. Titanfall 2.
Yep.
So when I played the beta of Titanfall, or I'm sorry, they call it the tech test. It was good, but they made a lot of changes, and I didn't necessarily like them, and I still don't like them. But if you tailor the way you play to how the expectations of you, for instance, before, if I got a Titan, I would call it out instantly, no questions. Now I have to be more tactical. I hate using that word because there's a pretentiousness to it. But I'm not gonna like if there are 4 Titans out. If there are 4 enemy Titans and none of mine, I'm not gonna call it out. I'm gonna wait. Whereas before, I would call it out, and I'm like, all right, I'll take out all 4 of you.
Yeah, just go ahead, go hard.
But like, I mean, I have captures on my Xbox One of me calling out a Titan and it getting like literally destroyed in 3 seconds, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, but as I'm playing it more and more, I'm starting to enjoy it more and more. And I still haven't touched a campaign, which is kind of polarizing. A lot of people love it, and a lot of people are like, I don't know why everyone loves it. But yeah, I really starting to like Titanfall 2. It's giving me vibes of like early Call of Duty, like Call of Duty 4, like Modern Warfare and stuff like that, where I'm like, man, this is just like objectively good.
Yeah.
Again, with the caveat that this happened after I tailored the way I played. But yeah, I mean, it's great. Like, yeah, like before it was like everyone had a carbine. Now you see variants in weapons. Like I'll use my semi-auto. I get sniped often. I get shotgunned often. Like, and there's enough diversity in Titan. Yeah, in Titans that like at first I was like, the way I played is I would call up my Titan and I would have him protect me because Titans die so quick that I was like, I'm not like, it's better for me just to have him following me around. Then I unlocked the last Titan, which is I think it's called Legion, and it's like the tank one, the one that has more health. And I was like, oh, okay. And that changed the way I played. So like his core ability, so all of them, I'm assuming it's a him, the core ability of Legion or Tone or whatever it is, it's like Soldier 76's ability, where his ultimate, where it focuses, it like auto aims.
Auto aims.
Nah.
So that's crazy in Overwatch, but it's even crazier when you're in a Titan because like I'll see like a group of pilots and I'll just see like little red dots indicating that hey, you're locked onto them, and I'll just once I pop that, I'll just hold it down. I've gotten like so many triple kills in a matter of like literally 2 seconds.
What's that Titan called?
I think it's Legion. It's the final one, and it's the tank one. He has no dashes or anything like that, but like, yeah, I think it's a really smart design on the variants of Titans. I really like that. So yeah.
Titanfall's gonna be my next game I'm gonna buy for sure.
Gotta get it.
At the end of this. I mean, at the end of this year, I'm gonna definitely pick it up. I mean, I was talking about this to you, Zach. Off, you know, I have so many games that I have yet to complete. In fact, I was just playing Arkham City. Arkham City 4 nights ago.
Nice.
I just defeated Ra's al Ghul.
Wow.
Nice.
You know, so like my backlog
You
is
mean
so backed up where I just
murdered?
don't feel like I have to keep buying these new games, because if you're listening out there, you probably you're like me, is that you have your backlog is insane. You'll never get to them if you don't actually play them.
It's true. I have a huge backlog already.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So like, you know, I have a friend who bought Fallout 4.
Hasn't beaten it?
And he did the Target deal. You buy 2 and you get the one for free. He did that last year. He never got a chance to play Fallout 4, and no matter what you feel about the game, he never got a chance to play it because there was just games keep coming out and they keep coming out and they keep coming out. If you're busy as hell, games just start collecting dust.
Yeah, and I think last year was specifically like egregious for backlogs because you had Metal Gear Solid 5, which
same amount of hours.
Carved out 80 hours easy. You had Witcher, which had the had like the likelihood of even carving out more.
500 hours.
Fallout.
Yeah.
Like
Dragon Age Inquisition took me 230 hours.
Yeah, like all these open world games are the things that set us back the most, I feel.
Yeah, seriously, you can't just.
Yeah.
I've already put 400 hours into Fallout.
Fallout 4?
Yeah, Fallout 4.
Yeah, I put a lot of hours in Fallout 4 too.
I put like 30, and I was like, oh, this game's.
I made my way to Far Harbor, and that's like Silent Hill, dude.
The mods
mist is crazy over there.
Are super fun.
Yeah.
For Fallout 4.
Yeah, I mean mods are good all around, but
like if you've beaten the game, I implore you to start over again and then do the mods.
Cool. I mean, like I'm looking forward to checking it out. So, anyways, we're gonna get into the news.
News.
Yay!
I knew if I said that and like took a pause, like Aaron would say or sing something, like he wouldn't be able to help himself with
Get
the silence.
excited.
Yeah, I guess get excited for news. That works. So BlizzCon happened a few days ago, or as the cool kids call it, Blizzard Convention. No one calls it that. I thought it'd be a good thing to say.
That's right. It is called Blizzard Convention, huh?
I mean, yeah, but I feel like they've gone by BlizzCon officially for so long that they just rolled with it. So one of the first things they announced, which everyone saw coming, was Sombra, which is a new character for Overwatch. And I know you guys saw the trailer and the cinematic, but did you see how they actually announced her?
Yeah, she did like a live hack of the panel or something.
Yeah, that was really, 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 really cool. So, like, if anyone has watched things on Twitch, you know that Twitch, as great of a thing as it is, it can sometimes be unreliable. All of a sudden, the audio will drop. All of a sudden, the video will drop. All of a sudden, the Twitch will, like, the actual stream will die. So I was watching it via Twitch, and then all of a sudden, it started skipping, and I'm like, so they're like, hey, let's look back at the year in Overwatch. And they cut, and they're showing like live footage of like people camped out, of people playing and all this. I'm like, oh, this is really cool. And then it started like skipping, and I'm like, huh. As usual, Twitch is doing its thing of somehow compromising the stream.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again. I was like, oh, this is getting tedious. And then like I started hearing like the crowd cheering, and I'm like, oh, they know something I don't know. And then like it cuts from live action to Sombra like pulling, or I'm sorry, her like little logo, and then that's when I was like, oh, this is actually a really well produced transition into Sombra reveal.
Yeah.
So like the whole lineage behind Sombra is like everyone has data mined like aspects of her. People have looked in the game and seen like different references to Sombra, like newspapers on the grounds in certain stages. I believe it's in El Dorado,
yeah.
And like if you're playing as Reaper will mention only there. He'll mention like, where's Sombra, and like all these weird nods to it. And I love that in video games, by the way, like these very cryptic nods to something.
Exactly.
And everyone's been waiting for Sombra to get announced for a while, and now she's announced, and they showed the whole reveal. What do you think?
I like how she's the second Mexican character in the game.
Yeah, right?
That includes Reaper. Even though he has an American accent, his name is Gabriel Reyes.
Yeah.
And he has an alternate costume, which is the Day of the Dead kind of like nod.
It's interesting. Like Lucio's the same way. Lucio's Brazilian, but he doesn't sound Brazilian, and like I'm like, I don't think they know how Brazil works. Like I appreciate the attempt to represent other cultures, but I feel like it was done inaccurately. But anyways, that's another topic for another day.
It's funny because I honestly, my opinion of Brazilians is they sound like Mexicans with Russian accents. Like when they speak Spanish. I mean.
Because like it's like Portuguese. But what do you guys think overall of Sombra?
I'm glad. I'm glad. I think she rivals May in terms of charm.
Yeah,
definitely.
Like my favorite thing is, I don't know if you guys. I mean, I'm sure you guys have been on Twitch. But I don't know if you guys have paid attention to Twitch chat. And Twitch chat is the most, especially on something like this that had, like, I think I looked and it had like 300,000 people watching. Twitch chat is like just a bundle of chaos. Like every second, like literally probably every
they get
second,
super excited.
There's like 40 or 50 messages being sent at any given time. So the Twitch chat is just, it's like, you see everything. It doesn't scroll up. It like pages up.
That's true.
And at the one point where she booped the Russian scientist in the whole little story.
Volskaya?
Is that who it is?
That's her name.
I didn't know that.
I forgot her first name, but her last name is definitely Volskaya.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that. And then when she booped her, the whole Twitch chat just exploded. Everyone was going boop, boop, boop for like the next 3 hours to the point where they were talking about Diablo and everyone was just saying boop, 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 boop. But yeah, I think it's cool. I mean, one of the things I complained about on our other podcast, the Botcast, was that the price for Overwatch was kind of steep, and in order to justify that, they have to put out a lot of stages, and they have to put out a lot of characters.
Yeah, they do.
So far, they've put out Anna, and now, Sombra's not out yet. I think she's on public test realms this week.
They also added a stage.
Yeah, they added Eichenwald.
Yeah, we talked about this when we first were deciding, are we going to buy, Overwatch, or we're going to wait a few months to see how they're going to support it. We knew that Blizzard was definitely going to support this game. I mean, they support every game. They pretty much put their time into.
We'll get into that in a second, especially. exactly. Like,
yeah. So we knew that we buy it now and we'll reap the benefits later.
Right.
Because there wasn't really much to go off. There was no competitive mode. It was just pretty much just, team base, and then, maybe we'll throw something at you on the side.
Yeah, the issue was, like, we know they're going to support it, but is it going to be good enough? To like, it's like, cool, you put out a character in 4 months. What if I'm done in 2 weeks? Yeah, and then it ended up being a really good game. Yeah. So it was like, all right, I'll bite. I'll pay the $60 and I'll play it every time. I'll play it daily. I always try to get in a match or two.
Yeah,
that's for me too. Going back to Sombra, I think the reason why the internet lost their shit is because they were so involved with the ARG.
Right. Yeah.
And it was deviously hard just to follow, even if you weren't trying to crack it. It was a great mystery. It was a great game, ARG altogether. Plus, it was very frustrating. So, and it definitely felt like someone was toying with you. So when you saw her character reveal, and you saw how very charming and playful and manipulative she was, you're like, that's exactly who I expected Sombra to be. After all this 5.5 months of an ARG that was just hair pulling and frustrating. But yeah, I think that's the main reason why everybody loves Sombra.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just a long time coming. But yeah, I'm interested to see how she's like when she actually gets out there.
Yeah, her interactions with the other characters. I want to see what that is.
Yeah, I'm really interested. So yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. Then the other thing that they announced at BlizzCon, specifically of Overwatch, and this was a really cool concept to me. They announced the Overwatch League, which is, I mean, there's been tons of leagues and teams and stuff like that throughout esports, as it grows. But Overwatch League kind of goes out of its way to create this uniform league and like standard for playing. So one of the things they mentioned, I mean, we'll see if they're actually able to deliver. But some things they talked about was like national teams, like national teams, like in sub-regional teams. So like a portion of a country, like that's a team, and this is a team, and like taking it global. But the thing is I think the special thing is like they talked about salaries and tryouts and benefits, like an actual
actual league,
right? And like I just like the idea, as somebody who watches a lot of Twitch, I like the idea of legitimizing esports in a totally new way. Yeah. Because I mean, I've watched Evo. I'm not going to pretend like I've been watching like esports for decades, but I've been watching Evo for the last few years, and there was something special, like something like we made it, of seeing Evo on ESPN this year. Yeah. Like it's clear there's a desire for it. I think UCI, which is a college here in Irvine, has like an esports team that like, if you participate in it, you'll get like a full ride. Like what? It's definitely a thing. But like I like that this is an attempt to legitimize it in a totally new way, like salaries and benefits. Like that's crazy, because even I think of the best Street Fighter V player in the world. Pretty sure he or she doesn't have benefits, like benefits through their salaries that they get through their sponsorships and stuff like that. Like it legitimizes it in a really cool way.
It's just cool to see how far we've come when it comes to video games and just the competitive nature and where it's going. Like, you remember the movie Cool Runnings?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's about all these countries competing to win the bobsled championship, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Right. And so nobody really cares about bobsledding in the past, whatever. And so it's like not in video games, it's just come such a long way. Where it's like, well, here's this bobsledding, side adventure that is just here now, and ESPN's like, yeah, we'll scoop that up, and because it's such a huge market.
Oh yeah.
So it's really cool how far esports have come.
Yeah. Well, I think video games have always been competitive, but I don't think they've been
on a national scale though. If you put on ESPN, that's some real shit right there, man.
Yeah, I know, but speaking of ESPN, I just love how, like, when it first started airing on ESPN, I love the faces and tones that the announcers had. They were just like, "Why
Colin Cowherd's like, what am I doing here?"
They're like, "Why is this on our channel?"
Yeah.
And now they're like super excited about it because it pulls them a bigger paycheck.
No, it's smart of ESPN.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see if they end up delivering on like a lot of the things that they said they would.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I mean, all of that sounds awesome. I mean, but will it actually happen? Will it take off the way they want it to? Will it gain the traction? Will it be as massive of a thing as they want it to be? I mean, it remains to be seen. But
I say yes.
I mean, I
Simply
definitely
because
hope
of,
so.
Just because of World of Warcraft
Yeah,
and how big that got. Like when I saw that game and when I played it, I didn't think it was anything special, but it has the biggest following of any game I've ever played. So I definitely think it would take off, and I think it will be exactly as they envision it.
yeah. I mean, I definitely hope so. We'll see. We'll see next year. Some more news out of BlizzCon. So Diablo 3 is getting a couple of interesting updates, and that's interesting because that game's 4 or 5 years old. But hey,
Dungeon crawlers are awesome.
I love when old games keep getting supported.
oh yeah, no, me too.
Bang for your buck.
So did either of you play Diablo 2?
No, I never
I
did.
think I did.
Okay, I played more Diablo. Yeah, I played a lot of Diablo 2, and one of the classes that was a fan favorite was a Necromancer. So just for a little context of the Necromancer, I promise this is going to be relevant. I promise. One of the things that was cool about the Necromancer, it was like one of these classes in these RPGs that like can summon characters, like summon like a companion. But it got to the point where like, oh, if somebody died, you can summon a skeleton, and you can have a skeleton at a time. Then you get to extend that to like 2 skeletons, like 8 to like 10.
Yep.
And then there's like, okay, now you can summon skeleton mages. And then it got to the point, and then like you could summon a golem. Like it got to the point where like, if you spec your skill tree in a specific way, the Necromancer him or herself, I think it was just a guy. That was before he could choose gender. Like the Necromancer himself wasn't very strong, but he had like companions that were taking up like 80% of the screen, and it like broke the game in a weird way because it was like, I'm not going to make my character strong. I'm going to focus on summoning these ridiculous legions.
Yeah.
And like even in a lot of RPGs, you don't see that. A lot of dungeon crawlers, you don't see that. But anyways, that was a fan favorite, and they announced that he/she, because now you can choose gender, is coming back for Diablo 3, and that's going to be next year. And that's
It's gonna make you want to get back into Diablo 3.
But
I kind of want to get back.
I put too much time in that game, but I will happily. I look for any reason to play again.
I have a love-hate thing with dungeon crawlers because they are a huge time suck. They're very addicting, and they all kind of seem the same to me. Like I confuse Neverwinter Nights, Dungeon Keeper, Diablo, and Baldur's Gate. I confuse them all the time because I spent so many hours in every single one of them that I don't remember which one is which.
Yeah, you ever play a game called Champions of Norrath?
No, I don't think I have.
Okay, so Baldur's Gate was like this hardcore RPG, and then they kind of simplified it in Diablo way, and that was when you get Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance. And then they went off to make Champions of Norrath, and like I'm like, that's the same game, just with like a couple, like it was like 4 players instead of 2. But anyways, that's a side tangent. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to having a reason to get back in, and like we'll see if they do the Necromancer justice, and that's the thing I'm a little concerned about. So my 2 concerns
They'll
were
probably nerf it.
Well, not even necessarily nerfing it, because it's like the Necromancer wasn't necessarily strong. Like it was just like it was a cool way to play, where it was like, I'm not going to spam this ability. I'm going to go in there with many weak soldiers and overcome them. It was like a very meta changing way of playing it,
making you feel like a commander versus an adventurer.
Right. It almost brought like a strategy RPG element to it. But yeah, we'll see if they limit the amount of skeletons you could have. Like the video they showed like maybe I want to say like 5 or 6, which is cool. But I'm gonna need to paint that entire screen with skeletons in order to fulfill that fantasy.
They might focus the Necromancer to be a supportive, team player kind of role. So they probably will limit the amount of summons.
Yeah, probably. And I'm also concerned. Well, I was concerned. Now I'm less concerned, but I'm still concerned. Was how are they going to give this out? Because with the Crusader, which is the new class they added initially, you had to buy, specifically for console, I'm not sure how it was for PC, you had to buy a new game. You had to buy the Ultimate Evil Edition. So even if you had the PS3 like normal edition, if you wanted the Crusader and the changes they did, you had to buy a new one. So I'm like, are you guys going to make me buy a third Diablo 3 to play as a necromancer? But they said it's going to be a downloadable pack. But that begs the question, is that coming to console or just PC? And that also begs the question of how much. Like, how much am I willing to pay to play another class?
It's like full price, probably.
Yeah, I know, like $60 to pay.
Considering the trend that all these games are having, it's like
Right.
full price for a new character.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna bring up Warframe because they have Prime variants, which are like the more badass, cooler looking versions of the Warframes.
Yeah.
And the Prime versions are priced almost $70, which is like a full game in and of itself, which is not bad because you also get a bunch of other crap that comes with it too.
Yeah.
But I mean, considering that they're continuously updating every 3 months and they're always adding new Warframes, it's actually I feel like it's worth the price because Warframe doesn't have a pay to win model.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm interested to see that. The other thing they added, and this was probably, I don't want to say it was a bigger news, but it's a more interesting news for a lot of people, was that they added so Diablo 1, right, was one of the original games that were procedurally generated. So you start out in a town, Tristram, which they reference in 1 and 2 and 3. And then you go into like this dungeon, and that's where it all starts. But that dungeon was randomly generated every time you made a character. So but it had like 4 pillars in it. I want to say it was 4 or 5 pillars in it that remained the same. What I mean pillars is like, it was like bosses. You fight the butcher, you fight, I don't even remember the rest. And then after that, you kill all of them, and then hell opens up, and there's like a portal for hell, and that's when you fight Diablo. They're bringing all of that back in the form of like a massive dungeon for Diablo 3.
So cool.
That sounds really, really cool because like that plays on nostalgia a lot, but it also, I mean, this game came out, I want to say 2011, 2012. It was a while ago. And I want to see the changes they can do in terms of how it plays differently than other dungeons in that game, you know?
It's one of the games that has the most replayability of all time.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
And like, yeah. So I'm really interested to see those things.
Plus, if you're a stats junkie, it's definitely your thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, that does it for Diablo news. The other thing, I know none of us are big into this, but I'd be remiss to leave it out. Heroes of the Storm, which is a MOBA. Heroes of the Storm, which is a MOBA. Kind of like it took the schematics of League of Legends and Dota, and it attempted to do what Blizzard does so well and simplify it, and it did. And I like the idea that it includes all Blizzard properties. So you'll have Diablo characters, Warcraft characters, Starcraft characters. They added 2 new characters, and they're Warcraft characters. If you guys care, I do because I played an inhuman amount of time of WoW. But they added King Varian. That's his name, right? No, Varian Wrynn. His name is Varian Wrynn. He's a king of Stormwind and the High King of the Alliance. Like he's like the leader of the Alliance. And then Ragnaros, which is the Fire Lord. And it's funny, as you guys look at me, I'm trying to be like the way you guys give me this look, like, what is he talking about? I'm trying to
I've stopped playing after World of
Warcraft.
I stopped playing after Warcraft 3. So like if anything
gotcha.
in reference in World of Warcraft, it flies over my head.
Well, I think Varian was in 3. It doesn't matter.
He's probably referencing 3,
But
just like the Lich King is.
But yeah. Anyways, that's some news if you care.
What about Jenkins?
All right, Leroy.
They need to add
As in
Leroy
Leroy
Jenkins.
Yeah, Leroy Jenkins.
The third.
Is he officially canon?
I don't know at this point. Like they paid homage to him so many times, but I don't know.
That's why I think I've heard of Blizzard paying homage to Leroy Jenkins.
Yeah.
Leroy Jenkins.
So that makes me wonder if he's officially canon to the story.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
I heard when I heard the movie was being made, I was like, I hope there's a Leroy Jenkins in that movie.
I still haven't seen that movie, but I'm hoping there are a lot of nods to the ridiculous things that community has created.
I know.
I heard that movie.
I still haven't
bombed
seen
or
it.
Sucked or whatnot.
Well, so it's interesting. The movie bombed domestically. It didn't do well in America, but in China it did so well.
They're gonna make another one.
I don't know about that. It did so well that it's the highest grossing video game movie ever. which is an interesting thing because it did terrible here, and that was one of the things they. In fact, thank you for bringing that up, Aaron.
Yeah.
That was one of the things
Yeah.
they talked about at BlizzCon. Is they said, "Hey, it's the highest-grossing video game movie ever," but it did terrible here. But like,
You mean it beat Street Fighter?
It beat GoldenEye.
no, that's not how that works.
I believe GoldenEye was made after the movie.
Right.
I know.
Like GoldenEye was a documentary, and they made a video game based off of that documentary.
Oh my gosh!
But,
bring back GoldenEye, remaster it.
What
and
other
put it on
terrible
Xbox
video game
One.
movies? Super Mario Brothers.
Super Mario Brothers was quite amazing.
It was a terrible movie. I heard one of the actors got stabbed because one of the audience members really did not like the movie.
Hey, The Last of Us will probably up there too someday when it comes out for the movie.
Are you saying it's going to be bad or good?
Probably fantastic when they make the movie.
I mean, the game is good, but that doesn't mean the movie.
Yeah, how
will
do you
be.
condense
It's gonna be easy to make a movie
30
like that.
hours of gameplay into or 30 hours cohesive story into like a 2-hour movie?
I don't know. We'll see.
Magic.
Very scientific approach you took there. Assassin's Creed is coming out in December. A lot of people are feeling like, hey, that's going to be the first good video game movie, but they said that about Warcraft. They said that about Silent Hill. They said that about this.
Prince of
So
Persia.
we'll see. Prince of Persia was apparently terrible. I haven't seen it.
But they made 3 of them. Oh my god, Resident Evil.
Yeah, Resident Evil started out good, then it went like full.
I'm going to see the
ridiculous.
last movie just because I want to know how it ends.
Yeah, you want
But
closure.
exactly, I want closure. But I hate the series of movies so much.
Yeah, it's real bad. All right, moving on to N7 news.
Ooh.
N7 Day news. Mass Effect. N7 Day was yesterday, right? Yeah. And everyone was super excited for everything they're going to show. It's like, finally we'll get a date for Mass Effect Andromeda. Finally we'll get storyline details. Finally we'll get this. Finally we'll get this. Finally we'll get this. Didn't get much of that. We got a trailer, but it was a cinematic trailer that tried to set the tone, but there's still so many questions because Mass Effect 3, if you like the ending or not, did a good job of wrapping up that story. Like when Mass Effect 3 ended, it's like, okay, this is the end, you know? Not even the end of like the galaxy or the universe, it's just like
The end.
that story has now been told. So if you're going to reopen it, you have to do it in a really, really like meaningful way. And so far Andromeda hasn't done that. And
Actually,
like,
they did reveal a key plot point or plot device in the trailer. It's that the game is set 600 years in the future from the events of the Mass Effect 3.
yeah, and like that's cool, and I'm excited about that. But at the same time, so the idea of what the Mass Effect was, if memory serves correct, the Mass Effect was a relay that allowed for very quick like transportation,
Galactic travel.
Yeah. So Mass Effect in itself is about these crazy jumps in technology to the point where it looks like you're hundreds and hundreds of years in the future. So you're so far into the future at the point of Mass Effect 1, or presumably, or looks like, that if you stack on another 600 years, it's like, at that point, it's like...
Mind blown.
Yeah, so if anyone here has played Knights of the Old Republic for the original Xbox,
Yes.
that takes place either
In the
hundreds or thousands of years before
Yeah.
the first Star Wars.
I think it takes before.
No. It takes place before, but I'm saying like I don't know if it's 100 or thousands, but it's a
Right.
long time, and you can't notice it because it's like, oh, that's just all Star Wars, and that's my problem with Mass Effect is like there's nothing in that Andromeda trailer or the minimal footage they showed at the PlayStation 4 Pro reveal event that showed like, oh, this is hundreds and hundreds of years in the future. So it's like. Like storyline wise, it's like, okay, that might be interesting, but like when you're dealing with a future, you're dealing like a far-flung idea of the future, and then you add more future onto it. It kind of doesn't push the needle.
Well, the thing is, I don't think it's gonna be that more futuristic than the other series, the original series, simply because, I mean, they're saying it took them 600 years to travel to Andromeda, so they're in a way a relic of the past,
Right.
in a different galaxy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested in it. I mean, like I said, Mass Effect 3 is super polarized. Mass Effect 3 wasn't polarizing. The ending was polarizing. And
I know, right?
like some people were like, yeah, this is cool. Some people, but I think the vast majority of people did not like it.
I don't think they didn't. It's not that they didn't like the ending. I like the ending. I just didn't like that it felt like my choices didn't matter.
Yeah, and that's more of like through 90% of the game, you're like, look, I'm making all these choices, and then like, oh, it actually didn't mean anything at all.
Yeah.
And that's frustrating to a lot of people. But
Especially since your choices really did make a difference as you progress through the game, but the ending, it just absolutely did not matter.
yeah,
Now it's funny that I say this because, I love to play video games, but I never touched that series at all. And since EA Access is now putting all 3 on Xbox One for free,
that's the next piece of news.
I guess we can go into that news. It gives me an opportunity to add that to my backlog of games that I must play or freaking attempt to. And I hear, Zach, that if I go straight to Mass Effect 2 and just find out what happened in Mass Effect 1, then I'll be okay with some decisions I'll be making or whatnot. So
your decisions don't matter anyway.
Yeah,
so.
I hear they don't. I guess,
I guess
they don't matter anyway. So
in the end,
yeah, spoiler, right?
I mean,
Nothing matters. Everybody dies in the end.
Yeah, but and I heard Mass Effect 1's a little bit dated, or maybe it's completely dated.
yes,
It's ridiculously dated at this point.
So Mass Effect 1 had some really, really all right. Not to talk shit about this game, not to bring it up out of nowhere. Mass Effect 1 had some really, really interesting ideas that reminisce, I feel like, what No Man's Sky was going for in terms of like the space travel. Like you'd go on a planet, you'd have no idea what you're going into. You can go into like a totally barren planet. You can go into a planet where there's like, oh man, there are all of this like very specific like race of aliens.
Yeah.
There might find like a side quest. You might find like an interesting story. That was cool. Mass Effect 2, they carved that out. It was okay, yeah, you can just go to this planet. Here's what's here. There are these minerals. Do you want to hold X for 25 seconds and just mine those minerals right here before you even go? So Mass Effect,
probably.
Mass Effect 1 had like a very interesting. Mass Effect 1, in a weird way, I felt like it was more of like a hardcore open game, and 2 streamlined it, and then 3 further did that. But definitely, if you really feel like you don't want to play 1, if you don't,
You can go ahead and skip 1.
you can, yeah.
Okay,
fine.
because look, I'm an adult. I can't play all fucking 3. So if there's one I can skip and just go straight into the, if I don't really miss too much of a beat, then I'll go ahead and do that.
You do
Right.
miss character development, but
Yeah.
like, you can skip it though.
Yeah, it's
Is there like a downloadable like comic that I can just read what happened in
well.
one?
There's
No,
I
I don't
guarantee there's like 1,000 YouTube videos that explain
And a bunch
everything.
of
Sure,
fanfic.
of
And a
course,
bunch of
Full length.
fanfic.
Yeah, so
Because I need to, like I said, I'm just finishing or trying to finish or even attempt to finish is Arkham City.
yeah,
So you know where my backlog stands.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, I think if you're interested, Aaron, specifically you, if you're interested in Andromeda, yeah,
I want to be interested. I just can't be because I haven't played any of them.
Yeah,
Plus, I think 2
context.
has a better opening than the first one does anyway.
Yeah, I liked 2 a lot, but I liked 1. To me they felt like totally different games.
Yes, they did.
But yeah, so take that with a grain of salt. Like I think you can bypass 1, but if you do, watch a YouTube video of it.
Yeah, that's probably what I'll do. Just get me kind of.
like
Like a synopsis.
And
Don't actually
also
watch
get me
the whole
kind of
thing. It's
excited
like
to
3
play
hours.
2. I assume.
yeah, and I mean, do with it what you want. I mean, if you really wanted to, if Andromeda comes out, which I'll get into, like the last piece of news for the day is the release date. If that comes out and you still haven't touched them, I feel like because it doesn't wipe the slate clean, but because it's a new story, I feel like it's not like super imperative that you played 1 through 3. Like I think that you could watch a video, like a
Yeah.
YouTube
And
video.
go straight to 3.
Yeah, like what? No, skip 3. I think you could watch a YouTube video that summarizes what, especially because again, that polarizing point is that no matter what choices you make, they all converge on almost the same thing every time in 3.
Nah.
That like you could theoretically watch a story. Like the whole idea of Mass Effect is you choose your story. You could be a dick or you could help everyone. Like you could do all these things, but it all converges on the same concept pretty much and the same result.
All right.
So for that reason, you could kind of watch a YouTube video. Like I keep pointing this out, but there's so many Mass Effect 1 in 5 minutes, Mass Effect 2 in 5 minutes, Mass Effect series in 5 minutes. Like if you really wanted to, if you legitimately didn't want to, you like didn't want to play it through, I think you could check it out. Of course, that'd be doing a disservice to understanding the lore and the backstory of all the characters. Will that be prevalent in Andromeda? Who knows? We will see.
Plus, it's kind of fun being a dick in that game.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I feel like Mass Effect specifically, when you choose like the evil option in like a dialogue tree, you're just kind of like an ass for no reason.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
And people are totally cool with it too. That's the funny thing.
yeah, it's pretty bad. But anyways, the last piece of news, they still didn't give a definitive release date, and a lot of marketing material has leaked. Amazon leaked the digital version of the game, not the game, but like the page for it.
Yeah.
And it says March. I don't remember the exact date, but it says a day in March. And there's a comic that's coming out in March too that kind of gives a little bit of backstory to Andromeda, and that also says like side by side release with the game. So everything is saying March, but for me, the fact that they've showed so little and it's 4 or 5 months away.
That'd be great.
Like, no, don't get me wrong. That would be incredible because it's
Yeah.
so rare in video games.
Yeah.
Like I think Fallout 4 was generally a disappointing game, but it set a precedent in the industry
They
that
just
hey,
released it.
all right, this year Owlboy is coming out. Don't know if you guys are familiar with it. It's an indie game. It's been in development since the original Xbox 360 arcade.
More excited for Cuphead. Go ahead.
But Cuphead is like 2 or 3 years in the making. Last Guardian is coming out. Again, a decade of development. Final Fantasy 15 is coming out. A decade of
I'm getting
development.
that.
Decade.
There are 3 games that are coming out this year that have been in development, presumably in one state or another, for a
Almost a
decade.
decade.
Yeah, like bordering, like teetering in and out of a decade. That is nuts. Like, think of where you were 10 years ago.
I know, right?
Like, so I hate this culture that we live, this gaming culture that we live in, where it's like, hey, let's announce a game, delay.
No Man's Sky.
Yeah, I mean,
And then to disappointment.
yeah. So like, if Mass Effect, again, it is currently November 8th, about to be November 9th in like an hour. If Mass Effect really is coming out mid-March, and they've shown like 10, 15 seconds of actual gameplay, and it still makes that is awesome, because that furthers the trend that the Fallout set, which is like, hey, we announced the game, it comes out in a few months.
Yeah.
That is awesome, instead of this like visceral and aggressive amount of marketing material shoved
Yep.
at you.
Yep.
That's what I love about, you mentioned it earlier, is Dead Rising 4. Dead Rising 4 is presumably coming out.
It's
And
coming out
it's
in
not
December.
getting
Yeah,
and it
any
didn't get
publicity
announced
right now,
It-
unless
dude,
you're an Xbox owner.
It showed up on the list like a couple weeks ago, and I was like, "What is this? And why have I not heard of it?" And I was legitimately excited because I was like, "Holy crap! I love this series."
Yeah, and they announced that at E3, which was in June.
Yeah.
So like the idea that June, 6 month, in a 6 month window, this game is announced and comes out is crazy when you think of Final Fantasy 15, originally called 13 Verses, takes a decade to come out.
yeah. Yeah.
Last Guardian takes a decade to come out. Like,
Yeah.
I'm all for that. But at the same time, like, hey, if I'm wrong, it's awesome that I'm wrong, that they actually deliver. But I'm concerned that they're not going to meet that date.
Well,
For
we
an
talked,
Xbox.
don't.
we talked about this with whenever there's a game that you really want to play, and it keeps getting delayed. That's the perfect opportunity to attack your backlog.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm fine with games getting delayed. I mean, Arkham Knight got delayed a few times. I thought, didn't it get delayed a few times? I think it got delayed
That's
a few
true.
times last year.
I don't mind when they get delayed
Yeah,
too. I'd rather
yeah.
I'd
Gives
rather
more
they
time
take
to
the
do what you
time
gotta do.
for the development and
Yeah,
refinement.
take your
Yeah.
time, man, because I got time myself. I don't need every new game coming out every 2 or 3 weeks, especially around this time in the fall. You know, it's
Yeah.
it's the money versus the money I already spent versus the time I got to go ahead and give to these games, and I can't neglect them because if I do, then I'm just wasting money.
Well, there was also that weird thing where companies were publishing games that were completely broken, and then a bunch of companies went bankrupt. So I can see why they were doing this huge push for releasing games as soon as possible and making a big hubbub in order to attract investors for their companies. So I can understand that aspect of it, but it's
Yeah.
I definitely feel like they should take the time
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
release their games.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. But that's going to do it for us here at the Nerdbot Gamecast.
Yeah.
Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me.
Yeah.
We will see you next time. Remember, you can check us out at nerdbot.com, facebook.com/nerdbotmedia. Also, the same as Instagram, instagram.com/nerdbotmedia. Thanks for listening, guys. We will see you next week.